이사가 여기 상가집 만났는데 나한테 아마 우리 회장님 보면 물어볼 거예요.
빨리 들어가겠습니다. 어떤 연예인입니까?
역시 잘생기고 잘 돼. 대표적인 때문에 김우천 씨가
이신방 멜란지 이신방 멜란지 이신방 멜란지 많이 하다가
Korea is our sixth largest trading partner, and we are eager to create even more commercial relationships between our countries and to expand the ones that we have. We plan to continue to support CCI's work to ensure that the United States remains the preferred cotton supplier for Korea's industrial users. Last year, Korea imported $250 million worth of U.S. cotton, up from $165 million the year before. But as we all know, bulk cotton is just one of the quality products covered by Cotton USA. Cotton USA is a reliable brand for all the stages of the textile supply chain, from yarns and fabrics, to dyeing and finishing, to fabric makers and exporters. I will leave the details of the U.S. cotton production and export availability to the experts who will address you shortly. But I have every confidence that the U.S. industry is well prepared to supply Korean companies with all the inputs that are needed. As a farm girl myself, I was particularly pleased to learn about the U.S. cotton farmers' sustainability initiative. Sustainability should be a critical component of everything that we do, and farmers especially need to act as responsible stewards of the earth. It's wonderful to see this important principle emphasized by America's cotton growers as they use precision technologies to encourage less water and pesticide usage. And speaking of high-tech systems and new ideas, CCI is also involved in a commendable innovative initiative. Advanced cotton blends are able to do amazing things these days. And I'm sure I'm not the only person looking forward to hearing about and then later seeing on this beautiful cotton runway what's new in cotton. But before I sit down and turn things back over to the experts, I want to thank you all for your continued support of the U.S. cotton industry. I'm sure we can all agree there's a reason Cotton USA truly is the cotton the world trusts. Thank you.
네, 좋은 말씀 해주신 인도네시아 우투어드 대사 대리님이셨습니다. 자, 이제 앞서 저희가 말씀드렸던 대로 클리커를 이용한 설문조사를 해보도록 할 텐데요. 뒤이어서 진행될 프레젠테이션과 아주 밀접한 관계가 있다고 합니다. 자, 여러분 자리에 보시면 이렇게 동일하게 생긴 클리커가 있으실 텐데요. 이 클리커를 보시고 화면상의 질문을 보고 난 이후에 동의하시는 의견의 번호를 눌러주시면 되겠습니다. 자, 이렇게 생긴 클리커를 보시고 동의하는 의견의 번호를 같이 눌러주시면 되겠습니다. 자, 그럼 바로 첫 번째 질문 함께 하도록 하겠습니다. 자, 2020년 전 세계 면화 수요 수준은 어떻게 변화할까요? 1번, 1억 3천만 베일을 넘을 것이다. 2번, 1억 3천만 베일을 넘지 않을 것이다. 자, 여기에서 생각하시는, 동의하시는 의견의 번호를 눌러주시면 되겠습니다. 네, 과연 2020년 전 세계 면화의 수요 수준은 어떻게 변화할까요? 1억 3천만 배를 넘을 것이다. 아니면 1억 3천만 배를 넘지 않을 것이다. 지금 눌러주시기 바랍니다. 네, 저도 기대가 되는데요. 과연 여기에 모이신 관계자 여러분들은 어떤 생각을 가지고 계실지. 자, 지금 집계가 되었을까요? 네, 화면으로 같이 확인해 보시겠습니다. 자, 약 63%의 관계자 여러분들이 1억 3천만 배를 넘을 것이다라고 예상을 해주셨고요. 그리고 36%가 1억 3천만 배를 넘지 않을 것이다. 이렇게 예상을 해주셨네요. 자, 그러면 이번에 미국면화협회 카린 말스트롬 이사님과 전 미국 포트슈퍼스 어소시에이션 회장과 미국면화협회 이사회 재무담당 이사를 역임하신 호피 브룩스 이사님을 모시고 발표를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 카린 말스트롬 이사님을 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
Cotton has been here for so long, and we are going to continue in the future together. So today we have a full program for you. I'd like to start out by reintroducing to you and introducing you to our cotton industry in the U.S. Number one, we truly appreciate that you all came here and took the time out of your busy schedules to join us. And today we have a small program which includes introducing you to the brand and our licensing program, and sustainability, which no longer is a buzzword. It is modus operandi. It's what everybody in our industry must be doing for the future. And more technically involved, saving in total cost from using U.S. cotton. And last but not least, to introduce the highlight of our show, What's New in Cotton Initiative. So I'll start out by introducing us again and talking about the global fiber cotton demand and supply and what's going on in the U.S. update, and then about our brand and licensing program. So just to refamiliarize yourselves, we were established in 1956, and we are the promotions arm of the National Cotton Council. So we've been around for a very long time, and in that time our industry has evolved. So we must be evolving with it. Not just evolving and following, but we want to lead the way. So we're going to share with you how we are doing that. We are funded by the U.S. government as part of the Farm Bill, and we don't really make anything, we don't sell anything, we are a non-profit. But what we do is bring the whole industry together. So we're almost like matchmakers, so that everyone in this room can do better business, can source better, and get better value with U.S. cotton. So we're we cover the world, but we're a very small organization. We have about 20 people in the U.S., but most of our people, because we are involved with export promotion, are stationed overseas. And I myself am in charge of the big China market and Northeast Asia. And as we are seeing, and as you will know from Mr. Kim's presentation, is we are evolving our supply chain. And that means we're talking more about companies, not countries. Because we are globally all over the world. So that's the beauty of our organization, is that we bring people together through a network of my colleagues around the world, and for the benefit of our partners who use U.S. cotton. So how do we do that? We do sourcing fairs both in large markets such as Asia. You know, Asia really is up and coming as a global demand, right? Not just in the supply chain, but actually for their own consumption. So we are setting ourselves up to be able to help all of you and all of our partners worldwide to really compete better in these markets as they become consuming markets, not just manufacturing markets. We just have recent information, you know, that China is gearing up to supply itself. So this is really going to change the shape of our sourcing and our supply chain in the future. And also Central America, the Americas, very important players, as you well know, because a lot of you are involved and have been involved with Central America and the Americas in your sourcing programs for many years and using U.S. cotton. So we thank you for that. We're also a brand, and it is meaning that we represent all of the cotton that is grown in the United States, with both upland and Supima. So we're very proud of our brand, and we promote this globally, and it can be used down to retail. And I believe June has done a great job even getting many, many brands and retailers here in the Korean market. I believe we have up to 68 now at retail. So you see our Cotton USA hang tag at retail. So now I'd like to share with you, well, what does it mean? The cotton the world trusts, and why have we adopted this slogan?
Trust doesn't just happen. You can't buy it, it's earned. Through actions, not words. And trust takes time. It's the integrity of generations that makes it real. Years of dependability, transparency, and doing the right thing. That's why we're proud to say that Cotton USA is the cotton the world trusts. No other cotton has our long history of offering supremely uniform, consistent, and contamination-free cotton. Because after all, we created the standards by which world cotton is judged. We continue to innovate to improve those standards. And we have the strongest, mandatory, enforceable regulations ensuring environmental sustainability and fair labor practices. With Cotton USA, you can rest easy knowing our cotton delivers less downtime, more productivity, and superior yarn and fabric quality. And depend on us for innovations that continue to create a greener, kinder world. Trust is more than just techniques and tools. It is formed by decades of character and commitment. And that is what makes Cotton USA the cotton the world trusts.
So let's talk a little bit about the basics, what's happening in the global market. So clearly, with the population continuing to grow, it's logical that overall fiber demand will grow. And And certainly this is the case. So it has been growing at a steady rate, around 3% the past few years. And in this mix, though, the demand for man-made fiber has grown faster. So as we move forward with the presentations, you'll see why this makes a difference and what we are doing to try to get back market share. As you know, 10 years ago, when the global financial crisis hit, that was also the time when cotton prices spiked. And that was just when retailers started then to try to replace cotton with man-made fiber. And we have now just started to make back headway. We have very healthy demand back now. We've stabilized it, and it is growing again, and you'll see in the next charts. But cotton demand has nevertheless grown at a slower rate. So this is what we want to be doing. And we want to continue to create an atmosphere and a platform to continue the demand growth for cotton. And this is what we're doing by all of the programs such as this to help the industry throughout the entire supply chain. What I like to say, from dirt to shirt. And Hobie Brooks will be talking about the dirt area of that later, about sustainability, which I think you'll find very fascinating. So cotton demand, we want to continue to be optimistic, and I hear from our merchants and co-ops already this year, we have very healthy demand, and there is a reason for optimism back in our industry. In fact, our growers have grown much more cotton this year, and they're going to probably grow even more next year. So when we say we are very confident we can supply you, absolutely we can. We want to be your long-term partner. We think it could be a golden age coming back for cotton. All the indicators are there, especially for demand from the customer to know what's in their products. It's not plastic, it's not polyester. We're hearing more and more about the very, very damaging effects of plastic and polyester. And this is actually making a big effect on the psyche of the consumer who wants to be genuinely eco-friendly and sustainable. And we'll talk about what really does that mean and what the U.S. cotton industry is doing to support that effort. Because we have been sustainable for many, many years. So the U.S. cotton export results, you'll see just now through May, very, very promising. And in fact, trade is going on right now. I just went to one of the largest conferences in China last week. And I think, Hopey, you were there. I didn't even see him because he was too busy with his customers. So, it's optimistic. And I think that number will go higher. So the results are very good for this year, 4% up. And our market share, we can confidently say we're around 40% of all of the exports in the world. So this is by far the lion's share of cotton exports is taken by the U.S. And we believe we will remain in that spot. So you can see the exports very healthy so far and continuing into the future. And it's far ahead of what it was in 2016. So export bales sold again. And where is it going? This is also an indicator of the shift in our supply chain. Now, a couple of years ago, China was our largest market. And because of the tariff rate quota that went down, and basically we kept selling a lot of cotton, but it just went to different markets. As you'll hear from Mr. Kim, it's going to markets like Vietnam. That's great. A lot of the countries now are welcoming investment from other countries. China certainly has taken advantage of that. And so have some of you in this room gone to other countries. Well, that's wonderful, because we can ship U.S. cotton anywhere. We're happy to do so. So it's going to countries like Indonesia, and Turkey's a good one. Bangladesh is a huge market for us. Of course, Mexico, we have first-tier countries who take the lion's share, and then other countries that we're watching because they are having a robust trade as well, and they're coming up very, very quickly. So we have very good trading partners, and one of them, of course, is Korea. So we thank you very much. We have been a long-term partner of yours, both to Korea and helping you in countries where you have invested. So thank you very much. So now, cotton production, as we mentioned, is up. We think it will be around, 5–6%, and even I have heard we have already sold forward into the next crop year. So people have already bought cotton that is not planted yet. Wow, okay. So, and we are a brand. So what does that mean? Well, we have at retail, because we have a traceable supply chain from dirt to shirt, they can confidently put the Cotton USA brand on the products at retail. So 3.8 billion products to date. So our brand is over 25 years old. And a few years ago, we refreshed our brand image with our new logo. And we like that very much because it has a lot of meaning. And we know why now, because we did research. That a lot of people, especially women, and you know, I think women are the large majority of the shoppers out there. So we did a survey of, hey, you know, they read the head tags. So it's worth it to tell people what's actually in your product that convinces them that it is high quality, it's worth to pay more, and people actually responded very well. So we did a study before we adopted Cotton the World Trust to say, well, does it work? Will they respond to it? And the answer was absolutely unanimously yes. So we did a very large study in many, many countries, as you see here. It was hands down preferred. Not just, well, it's made of 100% cotton. It doesn't tell you anything, it doesn't mean anything. But when you say it's U.S. cotton and it's cotton you can trust, the consumer overall, absolutely 2/3, and even 80% of customers said they would choose the Cotton World Trust over just simply cotton because it tells them something. U.S. cotton means something to them. So the results certainly did not disappoint. And they would pay more money for it. So you see this, it's a trust mark. So we said, well, you know what? This is something that we believe very confidently we can put as a saying on our logo. And now what we've done is because we're pragmatists, and we think, okay, it doesn't have to be 100% cotton, because we know that there are blends. So if a product, the finished product, is 51% U.S. cotton, and it's traceable through the supply chain, which we can certainly help with sourcing, then you can put the label on it. But there's other things that can go in it, like performance features. And we're going to introduce to you later on very exciting collections of performance apparel and home textiles that we have brought together with Cotton USA partners, and it means something, and it can bring innovation to life for you. So it's very exciting. So we do allow other fibers in there. And we have our licensing program, and it is free. So if you use US cotton and you're compliant with the procedure, you can become a Cotton USA licensee all the way down to retail. And then you can get the benefits of also joining our Cotton Club, Global Cotton Club, where we can help you source better. So, for this part of the show, I'm going to say thank you so much, and I would like to turn it over now to Mr. Hopi Brooks. He is the Director for Export Sales of Staple Cotton. Hopi, thank you.
안녕하세요. 저는 Hopi Brooks입니다. My name is Hopi Brooks, and I'm here today as a replacement for Mr. Ted Snyder. Mr. Ted Snyder is chairman of the CCI, but he was unable to attend because of a last-minute issue at home. So today, I'll be making a presentation about sustainability, which was created by Mr. Ted Snyder, about his own farm. a very personal report, which I will be giving in his absence. Again, in addition to being Director of Export Sales for staple cotton, I am a farmer. And before I give Ted's presentation, I will tell you that I myself grow cotton, trees, and cows. My wife and I recently began construction on our new home, which is located on the farm that has been in my family for 138 years. Our farm is 1,100 acres. It has 400 acres of row crops, which is planted 100% in cotton. We also have 500 acres of trees and 200 acres of pasture where cows graze. 4 acres of that pasture is where my wife and I have begun construction on our new home. So we live on our land just like Ted Snyder. We love our land just like Ted Snyder. We drink the water from our land. Sustainability is not just a word to us, it is our life. So again, today, after saying that, I will deliver the remarks written by Ted about his family farming operation, and it is, as you'll see, similar to mine. Ted's farming operation is located very near the Mississippi River. He's been a farmer for 34 years. He raises cotton, along with corn, soybeans, rice, and grain sorghum. The farm is 3,600 acres. And Ted, his wife Renee, and his son, Paul. They have 3 full-time employees and 2 to 4 seasonal employees for the busy times of the farming season. His story is similar to almost all cotton farmers in our country. The objective of U.S. Cotton is to be a supplier of choice for brands and retailers who are committed to buying sustainable and responsible fiber. We choose to make a difference and drive change to make the world and our farmers a better place for future generations. I want to talk to you a little bit about sustainability and the efforts of the U.S. cotton industry to meet the sustainability goals of the global apparel industry. A good place to start this conversation is by defining what sustainability is. Sustainability is a subjective term. It depends on who is making the definition. But we believe that the most accepted definition and the best definition is this. It's the ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This definition was coined by Gro Harlem Brundtland, the chairperson of the World Commission on Environment and Development. In cotton production, what this means to farmers like Ted is simply that they should leave their land in better shape than it was when they acquired it, and to provide an example for future generations to follow, so that they will continue to practice the same system of always striving to get better and be more efficient. Today, we submit that our country, the United States, produces the most sustainable cotton of any country in the world for several reasons. First is that our families, our farmers, are family farmers. They live on their land. Second, our farmers have one of the highest rates of adoption in the world for precision agriculture. This is out of necessity as much as it is for stewardship of the land. Sustainability is a good business practice. As cotton farmers, we produce a bulk commodity. We have no real control over the price we receive year in and year out, or even on various days. Our incomes vary greatly. from year to year, but our costs always seem to remain on an uptrend. We have to be very innovative in managing crop inputs and our costs. Failure to change and adapt would lead to failure of our businesses. We operate under the most voluminous, stringent, and enforceable environmental regulations in the world. And our country has the most comprehensive system for monitoring and measuring key sustainability metrics. And number 5, this is important. As of August 2017, the United States is the only country in the world that has set measurable goals for sustainability. Australia is comparable to U.S. cotton and is our partner in the very well-received and famous Cotton Leads program, which sets principles for sustainable cotton farming.
I grew up right on this particular property right here. My name's Doyle Sneers. I farmed for almost 38 years together with my identical twin brother, Daryl. Our main crop is cotton. We farm also with my son and 2 of my nephews that have come back from college now and joined in on the farm. They've kind of told us that the time is changing, which is a good thing. They're taking a whole bigger role in this farming that comes with technology also. And that technology is interesting. Precision agriculture with the drones, satellites, and taking pictures of crops.
We can fly 250 to 300 feet. There makes a we're going to take a nap, and we'll load that to the flood into another shape off that we can then put in your piece of equipment.
Everything's on our phones. We watch our drip systems. We control our center pivots on our phones. We control irrigation and timing and speed of the pivots. And then we take pictures of our grandkids. In 1994, we started the boll weevil eradication program here. The boll weevil traps have pheromone in them that attracts the weevil to the trap. So instead of killing it with a pesticide, we're actually killing it with a trap. We haven't sprayed with insecticides in several years. We're big into conservation, leaving the land better than what you got. Between boll weevil eradication and technology and cotton, it's really made a world of difference on cotton crop. My oldest son is Brett Sneers, and Lane Sneers is the younger one. Doyle's boy is Kevin, and then my son-in-law, Brad Strong. A lot of people just have themselves to depend on. I've got a twin brother, and now my sons and nephews. When you make a decision by yourself, you're stuck with your decision. When we can talk it out between 6 of us, it's a whole lot easier maybe to get that decision right the first time. That's certainly one of the biggest joys of your life, to be able to work with them, and then even to the next step of your grandsons coming back. You can't get any better than that.
That's a presentation about another family farm, but also very typical of USA cotton farmers. Precision agricultural management is a combination of modern technologies used by U.S. cotton farmers, which manage for variations of soil type, nutrient requirements, plant stress, soil health, and optimizes inputs. According to a recent study done by Cotton Incorporated's Jesse Daystar, by 2015, 69% of U.S. cotton growers used at least one precision aid technology. We believe that in 2018, that figure is now well over 69%. An example of precision agriculture is that you may direct very precise dosages of inputs in order to achieve high quality yield while using less water, less fertilizer, and fewer pesticides. A couple of examples that Ted does on his farm, you can see here. The first picture is of the predominant irrigation method on his farm, which is furrow irrigation. This uses polypropylene pipe, which is far more sophisticated and efficient than what it looks like, thanks to computer programs developed by university scholars and also private sector researchers. Ted acquired a new farm in 2016, And because of the late date that the farm was acquired, he didn't use one of these programs to help design a suitable irrigation plan. Instead, he used his own assumptions based on years of experience about how best to irrigate the crop and how to set up the system based on his experience. It took 10 days to successfully irrigate the crop on each irrigation cycle. In 2017, Ted switched over because he had time to do it and used a computer to help set up his system and see if it was more efficient to take care of his irrigation needs. The program changed Ted's design plan and cut the irrigation cycle from 10 days down to 5 days. Over the course of 2017, this program allowed the Schneider farm to cut irrigation diesel fuel usage by 5,000 gallons, or about $12,000 in economic terms. Also, it decreased water usage by 300 million gallons. Also, the Schneider farm uses 40 miles of this poly pipe that you see in the picture. 40 miles. They roll it out 1/4 of a mile at a time, but at the end of the season, it's rolled back up and picked up by the supplier to be recycled into garbage bags. The next pictures were used during an application of plant growth regulators on a cotton field. The crop images are before and after satellite shots, which are called plant mass photographs. These are just a few of the methods that we use for technology. I mentioned earlier that U.S. cotton farmers' adoption of new technology is increasing. The slide you're seeing now shows the results of an earlier mentioned study of the change in adoption of the earliest precision technology aids from 2008 to 2015. I should say again that in 2018, we believe that the percentage of adoption has continued to increase rapidly. U.S. cotton production, as mentioned before, is governed by a very stringent regulatory system on national, state, and local levels. Our farms are subject to inspection at any time of the year. My personal farm has had inspectors, and Ted's farm has had his inspected many times by them, just to be sure that we are compliant with the many and various laws regulating the farming industry. The penalties for non-compliance are both civil and criminal, and harsh enough that non-compliance is a very bad idea. An organization known as Field to Market works across the entire agricultural supply chain in the United States for continuous improvement. Its work is grounded in sound science, science-based tools, and it measures as many partners as you can see. And it's widely accepted by many major ag-based companies in the United States. As indicated by Field to Market, cotton production has achieved significant improvement over the last 35 years. This slide is somewhat busy, but you can see, going from outside to in, the reduced footprint of U.S. cotton farming and its effects on the land, greenhouse gas emissions, soil conservation, water usage, and energy usage. This slide goes back to the definition of sustainability that we mentioned earlier. If the definition of sustainability is to use the resources today in a way that does not prevent future generations from having the resources used, then the slide you are seeing now is very impactful. Over the last 35 years, United States cotton farmers have managed to grow more cotton with using 31% less land, 44% less topsoil loss, 82% less water, 38% less energy, and a 30% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. A resolution approved by the National Cotton Council Board in February of 2017 provides for the formation of a sustainability task force. This is an industry-wide task force. It has goals, and the task force has been meeting now for over a year. All of these planned improvements that the task force has established are measured in pounds of fiber production. For example, we want to reduce by 13% the amount of land required to produce a pound of cotton fiber. Other goals include to increase irrigation efficiency, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to reduce energy usage, reduce topsoil loss, and to increase soil carbon. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about values and people. In addition to sustainability, U.S. cotton is grown, ginned, and shipped by employees who are protected by a myriad of laws and regulations so that workers earn fair wages and are protected by safe working conditions. In the United States, 100% of our cotton is machine picked, so there can be no abuses. Ginning in our country follows rigorous worker safety requirements. The United States cotton industry supports the Partnership for Sustainable Textiles. We encourage our customers to join us to achieve social, ecological, and economic improvements alongside the entire textile supply chain. Our cotton producers are not only business people, they are natural conservationists. Cotton farmers pride themselves on being good stewards of the land. I can tell you without hesitation that preservation of a farmer's operation and natural resources is a major priority. It has to be. Our land is our most valuable asset. Ted took these pictures so that you can see on his farm the wildlife that is present. On one side, it's hard to see, but that's a bear. In the middle is a bald eagle. And on the left, on the other side, is geese. These pictures were all taken on or near Ted's farm in the last few months with his cell phone camera. The deer is running away from Ted. It just swam out of floodwaters from the Mississippi River. He watched it run into his cover crop and lay down unseen by predators. Many of the pictures that Ted has taken show you bodies of water and animals living in those bodies of water. Water quality is a major issue in our country, as well as on Ted's cotton farm. When Ted's children and grandchildren come to visit, they spend lots of time enjoying the environment around the farm. Cotton farming is what Ted does, but it's not who he is. His purpose is greater than that. He wants to tell you a little bit about his family and himself. Ted is university educated and started his career in the banking industry. After graduation from college, he spent 3 years in the banking industry before getting married and having a daughter and deciding that he wanted his daughter to be raised on a farm like he was. It was a wonderful experience. Ted's father, who's pictured here, started the family farm in 1959. He used the farm not only to raise cotton, but most especially to raise a family. Ted grew up with 5 brothers and sisters And the brothers and sisters have long since moved away and started their own families, but they still get together as often as possible on the farm, even though they are scattered all over the United States. Ted and his family hope to preserve and maintain the farm and to keep this family tradition alive. They have 3 adult children, 5 grandchildren, and it's very important to them that their farm is a place where their family wants to come. And it's a safe place for them to visit, just the way it was for Ted when he was growing up. Preserving the land and having been charged with maintaining and improving it for future generations is what drives Ted to be the best that he can be. He doesn't ever want to let his family down. As a farm family, as all farm families, Ted's family has experienced their share of success, but also disappointment. In the business, they've experienced periods of time when they thought they'd never have another bad day, followed by times when they wondered if they would ever have another good day. Most cotton farmers share this experience. Many of you here today can relate to these feelings, as the textile industry has gone up and down as well. We are all in the supply chain of the apparel industry. You know as well as we do that profit margins are almost always tight and sometimes non-existent. It takes all of us working together to make this industry successful. U.S. Cotton is committed to making a difference in sustainable agriculture for the future and for driving change and continuous improvement. We've been doing this for many years before it was called sustainability. We want U.S. Cotton to be part of your supply chain, and we want to work with you to improve the environment. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for considering using U.S. Cotton, and I hope that I have been a suitable substitute for Mr. Ted Snyder. Thank you.
네, 코튼의 무한한 가능성을 보여주신 선생님 방금 점점 더 기대되는 멋진 프레젠테이션을 해주신 카린 마이스터 이사님과 그리고 호프 브룩스 이사님이셨습니다. 자, 앞선 프레젠테이션에서 말씀드렸다시피 코튼의 가능성과 변화도 기대되어지는 부분이지만요, 코튼의 경쟁력이 갖추려면 아무래도 가격도 중요한 요소가 될 것 같은데요. 프레젠테이션을 진행하기에 앞서서 여러분께와 다시 함께 클리커를 사용한 프레젠테이션 전에 질문을 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 두 번째 질문 같이 보시죠. 자, 과연 2020년의 면화 가격은 어떻게 될 것인가에 대한 질문인데요. 1번 오를 것이다, 2번 내릴 것이다, 3번 현재와 비슷한 수준일 것이다. 자, 이 세 가지 의견 중에 동의하신 의견의 번호를 지금 눌러주시죠. 네, 과연 2020년의 면화 가격은 어떻게 될까요? 면화 가격이 오를 것이다, 내릴 것이다, 아니면 현재와 비슷한 수준일 것이다. 자, 생각되어지시는 번호를 눌러주시면 되겠습니다. 자, 집계가 된 것 같은데요. 함께 같이 보시도록 하죠. 자, 오를 것이다라고 많은 분들이 예상해 주셨습니다. 40%가 오를 것이다라고 생각해 주셨고요. 내릴 것이다라고 생각해 주시면 상대적으로 적네요. 27%, 그리고 32%의 관계자 여러분들이 현재와 비슷한 수준일 것이다라고 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 자, 그러면요, 바로 이어서 대한당직협회 김준 회장님과 미국면화협회 로저 길마틴 고문님의 프레젠테이션 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 김준 회장님을 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
네, 당직협회 회장을 맡고 있는 김준입니다. 오늘 저희 굉장히 좋은 날인데 이제 프레젠테이션을 지금까지 이제 고민이 많았습니다. 왜냐면 별로 좋은 말씀을 드릴 게 없었고, 근데 그냥 솔직하게 한국 연방이 이 처해 있는 지금의 상황을 여러분들과 솔직하게 쉐어하고 앞으로의 전체 섬유산업을 위해서 우리 면방사업이 무엇을 해야 되는지 또 같이 한국 섬유산업을 위해서 전체적으로 우리 산업이 무엇을 해야 되는지 좀 생각하는 시간이 됐으면 좋겠어요. 네, 지금 우리 면방산업의 현재 상황은 굉장히 어렵습니다. 한마디로 얘기하면 굉장히 어렵고, 네. 여기 이제 저희 면방 회원사들이 있고요. 회원사 수도 이제 많이 줄었을 뿐 아니라 뒤에서 설명드리겠지만 저희 한국 국내 캐퍼도 지금 많이 줄고 있습니다. 보시다시피 이제 줄고 있는데요. 제가 회장이 된 지가, 방글라데시 회장이 된 지가 13년부터 됐는데, 제가 회장이 되고 나서 계속 설비도 줄고 너무 어려워지고, 요새는 정말 진짜 개대별 설명이 다 합니다. 내가 회장을 그만둬야 되는 건데, 심지어 저희가 이제 전반이 내년에 100년이 되는데, 이렇게 하다가 내가 3대째 와서 우리 회사 재산을 다 거둘려는 건 아닌지 그런 생각이 다 드는데, 아무튼 네. 면방 수수는 계속 줄고 있고, 저희 회원사들의 고민도 굉장히 깊어지고 있고, 또 일반적인 적자도 지금 확대되고 있습니다. 네, 한 가지 다행스러운 것은, 다행스럽다고 해야 되는지는 모르겠지만, 아무튼 이 베트남에 저희가 이제 진출을 하기 시작을 해서 자리를 잡고 있긴 한데, 이것도 역시 만만치는 않습니다. 베트남 자체가 좋아서라기보다도 한국 투수가 줄기 때문에 거기에 맞춰서 베트남에 지금 나가고 있는 게 아니다. 처음에는 좀 특이한 게, 처음에 나갈 때는 우리가 굉장히 신설비 갖고 베트남을 나갔는데, 요새는 한 2, 3년 전부터는 우리 국내에 있는 투수가 이제 베트남으로 옮겨가요. 다시 말씀드리면은 베트남이 꼭 좋아서라기보다는 우리 국내에 갖고 있는 투수를 어떻게 할 수 없기 때문에 좀 가는 그런 경향이 같이 있다고 보시면 될 것 같습니다. 이것도 아주 좋은 평은 아닌데요. 여러분 아시다시피 이 서플라이 체인 앞서서도 우리 이 CCI의 스피커들께서 말씀해 주셨지만은 대부분 이 서플라이 체인을 위해서도 그렇고, 여러 가지 로지스틱스 위해서도 그렇고, 과거에 면방들이 생산하는 우리 시인들도 그렇고, 70% 이상이 국내에서 생산이 되어 왔습니다. 그래서 원단이 생산돼서 염색이 돼서 이게 원단으로 수출이 되는지, 이제 로컬 수출이라고 이제 그런 형태, 아니면 이제 내수 소비가 되는지 있는데, 보시다시피 지금 생산이 계속 줄면서 중간에 약간 생산이 좀 늘어나긴 했는데, 이거는 저희 면방사들의 좀 실수라고 생각이 됐고요. 근본적으로 모든 통계가 생산도 줄면서 수입도 같이 줄고, 이 수출은 좀 늘어나는 그런 형태가 됩니다. 그러니까 다시 말씀드리면 수출이 늘어난다는 게, 즉 수출이 늘어나는 게 좋은 현상은 아닙니다. 다시 말씀드리면 국내 시장이 계속 줄어든다는 것이기 때문에 국내에 지금 면방 설비 자체의 존재의 정당성을 점점 위협하는 그런 되겠습니다. 앞으로 우리의 면방의 경쟁력을 어떻게 확보해나갈 것이냐. 역시 저희 면방에서 차지하는 원가의 비중이 가장 높은 게 원면입니다. 그리고 또 아까 앞서서 이 CCI의 두 분 스피커께서 설명해 주셨지만, 이 퀄리티의 서플라이 체인이 굉장히 중요합니다. 그래서 그걸 차별화하기 위해서는 이 원면부터 우리가 굉장히 선택이, 좋은 퀄리티의 원면의 선택이 굉장히 중요하기 때문에, 여기 보시다시피 주로 이제 미국 원면을 저희들이 많이 쓰고요. 그 다음에 이제 최근 들어와서는 미 원면에 대한 이 수요가 점점 국내에서 품질 위주로 생산이 되면서 굉장히 높아졌습니다. 미면의 굉장히 중요한 특징은, 여기 이제 브라질 면이 있는데, 여러분 아시다시피 이제 브라질 면이나 미면이나 non-contamination 원면들입니다. 다시 말해서 이제 머신 피킹이기 때문에 컨테미네이트지 않은 미물질이 없는 그런 이제 원면인데, 그 브라질 면하고 그 미국 면하고 부분을 굉장히 중요한 그 크기의 차이가 무엇이냐면은 미국은 유에스에이가 있습니다. 다시 말씀드려서 유에스에이에서 하는 굉장히 중요한 역할이 미국 원면이 그 수입되기 전에 이게 농산물이니까 굉장히 그 변수들이 많거든요. 네? 근데 그 USDA라는 브라질이나 다른 나라의 이 국가기관에는 없는 그런 미국 원면을 스탠다드라이즈 해주고 그것을 데이터를 측정해주고 그 자료를 줄 수 있는 그런 기관이 있습니다. 그래서 이것들이 미면에 굉장히 경쟁력을 높여주고 우리가 좀 가격이 비싼 거를 지불하고도 프레딕션이 굉장히 중요하기 때문에 미면을 쓰는 굉장히 중요한 원인 중에 하나라고 생각을 합니다. 스탠다드라이제이션이 굉장히 중요합니다. 그렇기 때문에 우리가 또 이제 좋은 시를 만들려고 노력을 하고 있고요. 아까 앞서 말씀드린 바와 같이 이제 베트남으로 저희가 많이 진출했고요. 그 다음에 여기 다운스트림에 벤더들도 많이 와 계시고 공제업체도 많이 와 계시지만 그 다음에 이 진출 국가가 어딘지를 많이 고민하고 계시는지 역시 저희들도 이 벤더를 따라서 또 혹은 새로운 시장을 찾아서 해외 진출을 해야 다음 해외 진출국이 어딘지를 고민을 많이 하고 있습니다. 다만 다운스트림 업체와는 다르게 저희가 워낙에 앞스트림에서의 투자가 굉장히 크고 턴오버가 많기 때문에 보통 제가 듣기에는 벤더 같은 경우에는 벤더 여러분 같은 경우에는 턴오버가 매출의 턴오버가 한 6배에서 많게는 한 10배 정도 된다고 알고 있는데 저희는 투자의 턴오버가 1배가 제가 많답니다. 그렇기 때문에 이 투자에 있어서 굉장히 신중해야 되고 또 그것을 마음대로 빼거나 옮길 수가 없는 그런 투자이기 때문에 그런 고민이 굉장히 많습니다. 그럼에도 불구하고 결국 이 국내에 머물러 있었던 그런 현 우리 자체의 한국 연방의 그런 이 플렉서블하지 않은 그런 전략은 앞으로 한국 연방에 갈 길은 힘들다. 그래서 이 두 가지 면에서 저희 면방산업의 전략을 찾아야 된다고 생각합니다. 그 중에 한 것이 결국은 해외 진출입니다. 자, 근데 해외 진출은 그럼 어떻게 할 것이냐? 라는 게 굉장히 큰 또 화두입니다. 해외 진출을 어떻게 할 것이냐? 우리 옛날 면방에 한국에 가듯이 그냥 한국 면방 공장을 몇 주 단위가 되게 세울 것이냐? 그렇지 않다고 봅니다. 왜 그렇지 않다고 보냐면은 이 시장 상황이 과거에 비해서 많이 변했다고 생각합니다. 다시 말씀드리면은 과거에는 이 일반 코마 사업 위주의 중퇴번수 위주, 20세에서 40세의 중퇴번수 위주의 대량 생산 체제였다고 하면은 잘 아시다시피 시장 자체가 혼방산업 화성 체제로 굉장히 많이 넘어가 있고, 거기에 대한 어떤 물량이 더 일반 코마 사업보다 더 확대되는 그런 추세에 있습니다. 그것은 무엇을 의미하냐 하면은 미들스트림과 다운스트림에서의 이 과거와의 어떤 보다 훨씬 더 깊은 그런 서플라이 체인의 협조 없이는 그런 신제품을 개발할 수 없고 또 여러분 여기 아시는 분은 아시겠지만은 우리 앞스트림에서 면방의 굉장히 큰 고민이 뭐냐면은 대부분의 신기계들이 대표적인 대부분의 우리가 쓰는 신기계들이 다품종 소량 생산으로 되어 있지 않습니다. 다품종 소량 생산이 아니라 허브가 뭐죠? 그러니까는 소품종 다량 생산이죠. 소품종 다량 생산의 생산성 위주의 기계로 많이 되어 있기 때문에 이 부분들을 다품종 소량 생산으로 바꿔서 하는 게 굉장히 어려운 일입니다. 그러니까는 기계 메이커한테 그 기계를 사서 저희 자체 내 면방 기술자들이 그것을 개조해 가면서 다품종 소량 생산에 맞게끔 빨리빨리 어댑터비티 키워야 되기 때문에 이게 또 굉장히 어려운 일입니다. 그래서 이 서플라이 체인의 미드스트림과 다운스트림 간에 협조되는 거는 이제는 선택의 여지가 아니라 굉장히 필수다. 더더구나 신제품을 개발하려고 그러면은 염색 가공에 대한 어떤 그런 이 부분들이 여러분 다 아시다시피 굉장히 중요하기 때문에 염색 가공의 협조 없이는 신제품을 개발할 수 없고 실에 대해서 물리적으로 그 개발해봐야 그 또 이 염색 가공이 성공적으로 되지 못하고 다운스트림에서의 또 이 그 업체들이 써주시지 않으시면 아무 소용이 없기 때문에 그런 면에서의 어떻게 그 서플라이 체인을 여하이 잘 만드느냐가 굉장히 중요한 관건이 되겠습니다. 그래서 이제 그 두 번째 우리들의 그 전략은 그 뭔가 해외 나가더라도 미들스트림과 그 다운스트림의 클러스터링 해 가면서 같이 나가야겠다. 근데 이거는 우리들이 생각하고 있는 게 아니라 이미 다른 나라들은 한국을 제외한 모든 나라들이 이미 너무나 잘하고 있는 겁니다. 대표적인 예가 여기 보이는데 이제 여러분 잘 아시는 이제 브로스가 있는데 브로스라는 업체가 제가 처음 전방에 입사했을 때 정말 별볼 일 없는 업체였어요. 네. 이 자기 설비도 없이 커미션 스피닝이라 그 당시에 커미션 스피닝이라는 게 뭔지라는 개념은 없을 텐데 커미션 스피닝이라고 갖고 해서 이제 지금 어느 그 국내 면방 업체라 하면 상대가 안 될 만큼 굉장히 큰 성공적인 이 스피닝 업체가 됐는데 여기 재밌는 게요. 여기 이제 베트남 공장인데요. 이 제가 알기로는 이 그 브로스의 이 추수가 한 30만 주 된다고 그러거든요. 여기. 네. 어마어마한 추수죠. 근데 이제 더 늘린다고 그러는데 이거 50만 주까지 늘린다고 그러는데 아마 앞서 데이터에 설명드리겠지만은 국내 전체 스피닝 그 수가 아마 내년 정도 되면 50만 주 정도 될 겁니다. 네. 그러니까는 국내 저희 면방 회원사들을 다 합친 추수를 지금 한 공장에 브로스가 갖고 있는 거예요. 네? 근데 재밌는 게 보고 옆에 그 그림을 보시면요. 옆에 그림 보시죠. 이게 럭키, 제가 이 정확하게 이름은 모르겠지만 굉장히 유명한 업체인데 럭키라고 하나요? 네, 럭키 이게 중국 업체입니다. 그 미들스트림과 니팅, 염색, 다잉, 공제까지 다 갖추고 있습니다. 네. 그리고 대부분의 원료를 브로스에서 쓰고 모든 브로스 가보면 거기 일반 포만 상품만 아니라 별의별 포만서부터 제품 개발서부터 이런 걸 다 하고 있습니다. 그래서 이런 플러스들이 이미 있기 때문에 제품 개발이 빨리 될 뿐만 아니라 계속 제품 개발에 대한 비밀도 유지가 되고 이런 어떤 전략적인 관계를 갖고 있다. 그 옆에 일신방이 있죠. 그 옆에 일신방이 있습니다. 그래서 이 앞으로 여기 이제 다운스트림 업체들 많이 계시겠지만은 다운스트림 업체들이 이제 지금 그 OEM 위주로 주로 이 수출을 주로 하시는 전 세계에 공장을 갖고 계시면서 수출을 요즘도 이제 vendor들이 미들스트림으로 또 많이 오셔갖고 염색들도 많이 하시지만 다운스트림 업체는 이제 그렇게 해서 저희 그 실을 소비해 주시는 업체가 있고, 그 다음에 국내 패션 업체들이 있습니다. 그렇죠? 근데 이제 국내 패션 업체들도 점점 어려워지고 있다고 제가 듣고 있습니다. 어려워질 수밖에 없죠. 왜냐하면 이제 글로벌 대표적인 H&M이나 유니클로나 대표적인 것들이지만 자라나 국내 리테일 시장이 너무 많이 들어와 있고 계속 거기에 대한 시장의 그것들이 늘어나고 있죠. 네? 여러분들 아시다시피. 네. 그러면은 이제 우리나라 패션 업체들은 계속 국내만 있으면 계속 시장이 줄을 수밖에 없죠. 당연한 거겠죠. 그렇다고 이제 해외로 나가야 되는데 이 해외로 나가는 게 정말 쉽지가 않습니다. 근데 제가 보는데 제가 꼭 그 면방업체 당직협회를 맡고 있어서 하는 얘기가 아니라 우리나라 그의 다운스트림 업체들이 이 해외 리테일러들에 비하면은 특히 미국 리테일러들에 비하면은 또 유니클로도 마찬가지지만 보면은 참 소싱이 약한 것 같아요. 근데 이 소싱이 되는 게 이 두 가지 면인데 우선 첫 번째는 소싱 자체의 소재를 꾸준하게 개발해야 되는 어떤 그런 부분이 있고, 그 다음에 두 번째는 전략적인 부분이 있습니다. 전략적인. 그 전략적인 부분에서 제가 조금 예를 들어서 설명드리면요. 과거에 여기가 이제 앞에 브로스가 나와서 그랬지만 브로스가 멜란제로 큰 회사죠. 근데 처음에는 멜란제를 우리나라 회사들이 다 갖고 있었습니다. 우리 면방사들이 뭐 경방을 비롯해서 뭐 일신방, 뭐 대형이 먼저 시작을 했었지만은, 네. 그러니까 대부분 이제 쓰고 있다가 중국 업체들이 들어오면서 지금 점점 줄어갖고 이제 지금 다 포기했죠. 네. 근데 대부분의 벤더들의 분야회사들이 이 중국 업체를 많이 넘어섰습니다. 왜냐하면 당연한 결과죠. 왜 그러냐면 가격 경쟁이 있고 품질도 좋고 뭐 이제 점점 또 그렇게 되다 보니까 칼라에 대한 소스를 미국 리테일러들이 이제 요구를 하고 당연히 이렇게 넘어갔는데, 그래서 지금 경방을 포기를 했어요. 안쪽에서 성청을 포기를 했는데 한 3년 있다가 어느 거래처에서 멜란지를 다시 생산하는 거예요. 아니 그래서 중국 업체 사면 되지 왜 멜란지를 왜 우리한테 살라고 그러냐. 그렇게 우리가 팔라고 그럴 때는 그냥 거듭떠보지도 않다가 왜 팔라고 그러냐 그랬더니 중국 업체가 가격을 점점 올린다는 거예요. 다시 말씀드리면은 이해가 한 가지고 두 번째는 우리 중요한 생산 기지 중에 한 군데가 아시아도 있지만은 또 이 중남미, 아시아만큼 크지는 않지만 중남미가 있지 않습니까? 근데 중남미 시장을 지들이 이제 요새 연구를 하고 있는데, 지금 협회에서 이제 연구를 하면서 한 가지 새로운 사실은 지들이 너무 늦게 한 거예요. 새로운 사실이 아닌데 이번에 새로운 사실을 발견한 거죠. 공부하다 보니까. 이 실값이 비싸지는 거예요. 실값이. 근데 우리가 계산을 해보니까 우리가 면방하고 나가서 그 실값 정도면 충분히 거기서 경쟁할 수 있을 것 같아요. 네? 그래서 자세히 조사해보니까 이 실값이 주는 거래처마다 달라요. 네? 다시 말해서 중장기적으로 오랫동안 거래한 업체들에서는 실값을 굉장히 싸게 주고, 네? 그렇지 않은 업체들은 실값을 굉장히 비싸게 받죠. 네? 그러니까 그걸 거꾸로 보면은 우리들 같은 경우에 물건이 좋고 실값이 싸다고 물건값이 싸다고 그 시장을 뚫어갈 수가 없어요. 왜냐하면 이미 여기 얘기하는 클러스터링과 소싱에 있어서 그런 클러스터링과 서플라이 체인에 대한 협력이 너무 현저히 잘 돼요. 네? 근데 다시 말씀드리면은 만일 거기에 있는 한국의 현지 공장들이 가졌을 때 실값을 비싸게 살 수밖에 없는 거죠. 어떤 식으로든지 클러스터링을 하지 않아요. 네? 근데 앞으로 아마 이런 지금 뭐 얼마 전에도 원면값이 굉장히 뛰어서 실값이 굉장히 요동치고 그러지 않습니까? 네. 근데 옛날에 면방들이 원면값이 오르면 다 좋아했어요. 왜냐하면 원면값이 오르면 실값이 올라가거든요. 근데 물론 실값이 오르긴 올라요. 근데 이게 굉장히 불안한 거예요. 네? 이게 원면값이 오르면 우리도 실값을 서서히 올리고, 그 다음에 원면값이 떨어지면 실값을 서서히 떨어지거든요. 근데 이제는 그런 방법들이 통하지 않아요. 너무 플락치기 심해요. 그러니까 서플라이 체인에 어느 누구도 해피한 사람이 없는지 모든 사람들 모두 굉장히 다 해피하게 했어요. 그렇다 보면은 그런 부분에 대해서 그런 버퍼나 이런 것들을 우리가 어떻게 극복해 나갈 것이냐. 네? 다시 말해서 소싱 자체에 어떤 염색이든가 뭐 여기 디자이너도 있으시고 뭐 여기 MD도 있으시고 또 소싱하는 소싱 파트에서 있으시겠지만은 여러 가지 좀 더 우리가 많은 물리를 갖고 많은 커뮤니케이션을 통해서 좋은 소싱을 소재로 공부해갖고 좋은 소싱을 개발하고 하는 것도 중요하겠지만은 결국 경영 레벨과 모든 레벨에서 어떻게 커뮤니케이션을 스트레티직하게 여기에 대한 서플라이 체인을 어떻게 안정적으로 갖고 가는 것이다 라는 게 굉장히 중요한 학구가 될 거라는 것을 저는 이 자리에서 강조하고 싶습니다. 그래서 지금 유일하게 멜란지가 남아있는 데가 그래도 20만입니다. 저는 관계가 없어요. 이 20만이 어떻게, 네. 근데 제가 거의 혹시 나왔는데 아마 20만을 멜란지 포기하면은 굉장히 아마 소싱하시기 쉽지 않아요. 네? 그래서 20만 멜란지 좀 비싸지만 열심히 사주시고, 네? 한국 서플라이 체인에서의 좀 더 우리 소재를 많이 사랑하셔서 이 클러스터링을 우리가 좀 더 클로즈리하게, 네? 좀 더 가깝게, 네? 대부분 또 우리가 미국 이 원면들, 질 좋은 원면들을 같이 쓰고 있습니다. 그런 이 부분을 우리가 잘 어떻게 해 나가느냐가 굉장히 한국 이 전체 섬유업계 또 패션업계에 같이 중요한 저는 하더라고 봅니다. 그래서 좀 더 우리가 소싱에 좀 더 관심을 가져야 되지 않을까 생각합니다. 네. 한 가지 오늘 굉장히 제가 항상 우울한 것밖에 없었는데 오늘 학원에 굉장히 희망을 가진 뉴스가 하나 있습니다. 왜냐하면은 트럼프랑 김정은 위원장이 오늘 회의를 하고 있는데 이게 굉장히 저는 섬유산업의 국내 섬유 인더스트리를 살리는 굉장히 중요한 하더라고 봅니다. 이 기회에 이게 회의가 잘 돼서 북쪽에 공개 공장이 엄청나게 많이 생겼으면 좋겠어요. 그래서 저희 파트너의 많은 밴드들이 북쪽에 많은 공장을 세워서 여기도 좀 소싱을 하고 또 이게 북한의 오리진이 한미 FTA처럼 북한에 생산된 것도 우리 오리진으로 인정을 받아서 그렇게 수출이 돼서 다시 우리 텍스타일 산업이 다시 사는 어떤 계기가 됐으면 바랍니다. 네. 감사합니다.
Good morning, my name is Roger Martin. I'm 74 years old. I graduated in 1964 as a textile engineer. Of those 54 years, I've spent all my life in the textile industry. I spent half of that time as a consultant and half of that time running textile companies and textile factories. I'm an independent consultant, and last year I did a study for CCI in Bangladesh, looking at the use of US cotton and measuring that against the use of Indian and CIS cotton in the manufacture of knitted garments, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about this morning. The object was really to try and evaluate those three cottons, both technically and financially. And I followed the production right away from the cotton bale through to the finished garment. The reason I did this study and that CCI didn't do the study themselves is they're looking for the objectivity that an outsider will give to any study like this. The mill partner that we chose was totally vertical. So they had spinning, knitting, dyeing, finishing, garment making, all on one geographical site, except the knitting department, which was about 60 kilometers away from the main factory. I worked on this study with a US-based yarn and fiber specialist, but I'm not a cotton specialist myself. I spent 7 weeks on site in Bangladesh in the factory, living in the guest house. One of the things I try and do in a study like this is to make sure that the internal disruption to the partner company is as small as possible. There are two main parts that I'm going to talk to you about today. First of all, we're going to discuss the technical results, and then I'm going to try and put some financial valuation on what we saw from the technical results. All three yarns that we used in this study were 100% cotton. They were carved ring-spun yarns with a count of 30 singles, English count. The garment we knitted was a single jersey, circular knit polo shirt. We dyed the garment in 3 colours, a white, a light pink and dark navy. And the dark navy we divided into 2 lots, so that half of it was enzyme treated and half of it wasn't. All the fabrics and cut pieces and garments, they were all inspected to the standards of one of the most important customers of this particular factory. I know you won't tell anybody, but that customer was Michael Kors. The decisions regarding the quality levels, rejects, all those decisions were not made by me, they were taken by the partner's quality control team. I must say the collaboration I had was absolutely fantastic. So, first of all, let's talk about the price that the cotton entered this particular factory. In 2016, they had paid 84 cents a pound on average for the Indian cotton, 92 cents a pound for CIS cotton, and 87 cents a pound for US cotton. This mill normally used Indian cotton. That was their main fibre, but they purchased CIS cotton and US cotton specifically for this project. The fibre and yarn specialist that I worked with, he chose the cottons to make sure that we were comparing apples with apples and that the lay-down characteristics were the same between each fibre. Analysis of the APHIS results showed that the CIS cotton had significantly less, 40% less, short fibre than either the Indian or the US cottons. US cotton also had 30% more nets than either of the comparative fibres, and you can see the net count there on this slide. The immaturity index of all the three cottons was roughly the same. So, the yarns I have been tested in two places. One, we obviously use the quality control facilities of the partner, but I also sent samples of the yarn to the USA, and we had them tested in the Textile Technology Center at Gaston College in the Carolinas. These are the yarn analysis results, as you can see. So you've got the three fibres at the top, Indian, CIS and US, and then you can see the difference in the mill and the TTC results. So as you can see, basically, what the US fibre didn't do very well, really. Had more nets, a higher IPI standard. In Bangladesh, in the knitting industry, they're very obsessed with the idea of count strength product rather than single thread strength. So as you can see, the CSP of the US fibre was the lowest of all three fibres. The tenacity actually was the highest, but in Bangladesh for knitting, people are really obsessed with the concept of CSP. So, these were the things we were really interested in: yarn strength, extensibility, hairiness, imperfections, variations. And both sets of yarns really showed a common pattern. The CV of the CIS and Indian yarns showed less variation than the US yarns. The CS figures, as I said, were stronger than the US. And the yarn imperfections of both CIS and Indian were better. And so the US really, in the spinning stage, came out in a relatively poor light. The US yarn, as I said, had more thick, more thin, twice as many nets, and really the lab results were quite poor. The next thing I measured was the waste losses at each stage of the processing. So basically, we weighed the fibre as it came in, and then we weighed it as it came out at every stage. And as you can see, we start to see an important difference. During the spinning process, we lost almost 17% of the fibre of the US fibre, against only 14.6% of the US cotton. CIS, we lost the lowest amount, only 13.65. By the way, this is a 40-minute presentation, so I'm going to jump over some slides to see. Then we knitted did the knitting analysis. We, as I said, knitted a single jersey garment with a target GSM of 160, the loop length of 2.65. Gives you some details of the machine that we did it on. We used the same machine to knit all the yarns, so we were making sure that there was no changes. During the trial, we noted the cause and position of every machine stop, the time to repair every machine stop, all the downtime. And at the completion of the trial, we knitted the fabric that we knitted, we weighed it, we weighed the unused yarn, and we established what the losses were. This is the results of the knitting trial. As you can see, US had the highest machine efficiency, it had the best running efficiency, and that's because it had the lowest stops per machine hour. It also had less stops in minutes, less time in stops for every stop because of the position of the stops. Most of the stops with the US yarn were actually inside the machine, whereas most of the stops with the Indian yarn were actually on the combs in the crib. But the most important factor here is how much fibre we lost during the knitting process. The partner company did not realise that they were losing almost 1% of fibre from the Indian yarns that they were using in the knitting process. This was not included in their costings. As you can see here, the US yarn again performed much better than either of the competitors. This is just a summary of what I said. We're on to dyeing and finishing. I've already told that to you. What we did was we used the standard recipes that this mill used for each of the 3 colours. Now, because they were normally using Indian yarns, we were using the recipe that was tailored for the Indian fibre. But we used the same recipes on both the CAS and the US combs. And during and after the finishing performance, the performance was evaluated against their standards, and it was evaluated using a light box and also by a photospectrophotometer. Excuse my language. The fabrics were inspected prior to dyeing and finishing. They used their normal 4-point system, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. And each fabric in each colour was inspected by myself, but in tandem with the partners manager of QC and the head of dyeing and finishing. All the reject decisions were made by them. So here is the study of finished fabric after we dyed it. As you can see, the average points per kilo of the Indian was 2.62 against the USA of 0.16. You can see in the 4th column all the major defects that we saw in the finished fabric. And basically all the colours, they rejected all the colours of both the Indian and CIS, and they passed everything for the US in the Navy except the Navy that wasn't enzyme treated. Now the next important factor is the GSM. In this particular factory, Michael Kors has said that they had to reach a target of no more than a 3% GSM loss. As you can see, with the Indian cotton, we lost 3.9%. So in theory, this means that all that fabric and all those will be rejected by Michael Kors. Now, that doesn't happen, of course. What happens is that Michael Kors will accept that, but they'll accept it at a discount. Even the CIS cotton just about scraped under this 3% barrier. But again, the US was well under. This is just a summary of what I've just said, so I'll try and go on. Now, in the garment manufacturing, all the patterns were generated with lecture software, but they were cut by hand. During the finished cloth inspection, they had highlighted on the fabric all the points where there were things that they felt that might need to be cut out during the cutting process. And then, when the fabric was laid out on the cutting tables, they re-inspected it again. And then, after sewing, we re-inspected every garment as well. I repeat, all the pass and reject decisions were made by the partner. So here you've got 2 different sets of data. In the left-hand table, you can see the cutting table waste for each of the 3 main colours, plus the navy and enzyme. And as you can see, we had the lowest cutting table waste with the US fibre compared to the other 2. And then when you looked at the reject of finished garments, it was significantly different. As you can see, we had only 10% of the US garments rejected, whereas we had 67% of the Indian garments did not meet the standards required for this particular customer. And this gives you some idea of the cut and sew analysis of why, how many pieces we looked at. Now, in this factory, Bangladesh, one of the reasons that they are such an important manufacturer of garments is the labour cost. In this particular company, a sewing operative makes about an equivalent of 72 US cents an hour. And that's including all the social charges and benefits. So, for example, when they have a garment that's full of contamination, which it was from the Indian fibre, they brought an army of ladies in there with tweezers, and they plucked every piece of contamination out of the garments. So when you see on these tables the question of after recovery, that's because these garments were then put back into production after the ladies had removed all the contamination. So again, this is just a summary of what you've seen on the tables. Now let's talk about the financial analysis. I showed you what were the average prices that they paid for the cotton in 2016. But as you can see in the top of this table, those were the prices that were actually being paid at the time that I was doing the study. So the US cotton was at 95 cents. India has probably just over 50% of the market, whereas US cotton is less than 10%. All the cotton that comes into Bangladesh comes through one port, and you have to pay, added for the financial evaluation, I added the extra cost of transportation from the port to the mill. So in looking at the prices to use in the calculations, these were the prices I used. 84 cents a pound for Indian, 92 cents a pound for CIS, and 87 cents a pound for the US. I use a very simplistic method of trying to put a value on this. I take the cost of the fibre as it enters a particular process. And then, for example, with the Indian fibre, if I lose 17% of the fibre during spinning, I add the cost of that 17% back into the cost of the fibre going into knitting. And every time I lose fibre, or I have an extra cost, I add it back, so that at the end of the process, I've added back all the losses. It's a simplistic methodology, but it works, and it also means that actually I don't have to get too much private financial information from the companies where I'm actually doing the study. And the next slide shows you the impact of these calculations on the three fibres. So again, you've got the three columns, and the interesting thing here is when we get to the bottom. So you start, for example, with Indian cotton with a mill door price of 84 cents. But by the time you have all the losses and put into the process, then by the time you get to the end, if you've not recovered the garments by using the ladies to take out the contamination, the equivalent cost of the Indian fibre would be $1.62 against the 84 cents at which it entered the factory. Now, when you do the same calculations for CIS in the US, you see that $1.25 is the final cost of the US cotton. And I think one of the main objectives of this kind of study is, and I think you will perhaps see and realise and understand this, in many companies, all around the world, important decisions, such as the cost of raw materials, are not made by the operating people. They're made by the ownership, or they're made by accountants. People that don't really understand what goes on in frontline manufacturing. And it's amazing, when I go around the world, and I've been around the world, I've worked in 55 different countries, I've probably visited in my career over 3,000 factories. And everywhere I go and I talk to people, and you talk to the mill people, they tell you that they know that US cotton runs better in the mill, is a better performer. And yet, sometimes they're being asked to use fibre that they know is inferior to what they could be using. So one of the objects of this kind of study by CCI is to try and demonstrate at gatherings like this, where hopefully we have a mixture of people from the ownership level down to the operating level, to say and pass on this very important message. Price is not everything. The really important thing is value. And it's not just about raw material. As we heard today, raw material is probably about 60-65% of your total cost. But it's the same when people are buying machinery. They look at a machine. This Chinese machine costs X. This Swiss machine costs X plus 20. Oh, let's buy the Chinese machine because it's cheaper. But that's a mistake. Price is not the criteria. What the criteria is value. This is just a summary of everything I've said in terms of financial analysis. I don't have to repeat that. I think this is the main summary. Without the ability to recover garments that were rejected for contamination and other repairable defects, the US cotton advantage would have been even greater. The combination of lower fibre loss, improved operating performance, and higher fabric and garment quality attributable to the US fibre at all stages of the process obviously has a major financial impact. The project has clearly demonstrated the significant advantages that US cotton offers to its customers, both technically and financially. I think, in my opinion, although obviously I could be proved wrong because we were in 2010, but I think it's highly unlikely that any swing in the market price of cotton will ever be great enough to take away the clear technical and financial advantages that US cotton has demonstrated during the study. Now, it may be of interest to you to know that I'm repeating the study this year, and this year I'm comparing, again back in Bangladesh, but again at another different factory. I'm comparing this year US fibre against Brazilian fibre and against West African fibre. The West African fibre is from the Cameroon. And I was interested when I saw that the second largest cotton use in Korea, it comes from Brazil. I'll give you a little snapshot. I've actually just finished the spinning and knitting part of this new project this year. And I'm going back from here in China, going back to Bangladesh to finish the study. But I can tell you, after we've gone through the spinning and knitting part of the project, Brazil has done very, very badly. Of the three fibres that we're comparing, Brazil is very much in third place at the moment, if that's of any interest to you. But that's still private information. So, US cotton, the cotton that the world trusts, gives you lower fibre loss, improved operating performance, higher quality, and considerable financial advantages. Thank you very much for your attention today.
네, 한국 면방사들의 경쟁력과 원사의 몸의 함유량이 패브릭과 가먼트 생산 경쟁력에 미치는 영향 스터디를 진행해주신 김준 회장님과 그리고 로저 길라틴 고문님이셨습니다. 자, 이제 마지막 프레젠테이션이 남아있는데요. 다음 프레젠테이션이 What's New in Cotton? 에서 세계적인 혁신 기술과 또 새로운 트렌드에 대해 소개해 드릴 겁니다. 자, 그 전에 텍스타일 공급망의 리더십에서 생각하는 혁신 기술에 관한 의견을 들어보는 설문조사를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 여러분 소지하고 계신 클리커를 다시 한번 들어주시고요. 세 번째 질문 함께 보시겠습니다. 네, 미래에는 어떤 혁신 기술이 기본적인 면의 특성이 추가되었을 때 소비자에게 더 강한 임팩트를 줄 수 있을까요? 첫 번째, 흡판 속건 기능, 2번, 건강관리 및 의료 기능, 3번, 소취 기능, 4번, 지구지속 가능성과 원료 투명성의 컨텐츠 강화. 이 네 가지 중에 기본적인 면의 특성이 추가되었을 때 소비자에게 더 강한 임팩트를 줄 수 있는지 지금 눌러주세요. 네, 과연 미래는 어떤 혁신적인 기술이 소비자들에게 더 강한 임팩트를 줄 수 있을까요? 1번 탄수권 기능, 2번 건강관리 및 의료 기능, 3번 소취 기능, 4번 지속 가능성과 원료 투명성의 콘텐츠 강화. 자, 쉽지 않은 것 같은데요. 자, 지금 집계가 된 것 같습니다. 자, 같이 확인을 해보도록 하죠. 자, 15%에 달하는 관계자 여러분들이 탄소권 기능이 주요하다고 생각하셨고요. 37% 건강관리 및 의료 기능이 중요하다고 해주셨습니다. 자, 소취 기능은 다소 적네요. 4%. 그리고 가장 많은 분들이 43%로 지속 가능성과 원료 투명성의 콘텐츠 강화가 더 강한 임팩트를 줄 수 있다고 대답을 해주셨습니다. 자, 그럼 이어서요. 미래의 혁신 기술을 위해 코튼 유에스에이가 새롭게 시작하고 세계적인 혁신 기술과 새로운 트렌드를 함께 소개하며 미국 면화의 지속 가능성과 혁신성을 알리는 What's New in Cotton에 대해 소개해 주실 미국 면화협회 카인 말스트롬 이사님을 다시 한번 무대 위로 모시겠습니다.
Keep things going. Here I am back again for the final part of our program this morning. And now I'd like to introduce you to our primary theme for today, what's new in cotton. So I'd like to bring you back to one of the slides that I presented at the first part of this program. You will remember that global cotton demand is quite slowly rising, but it is rising, and that is the good news. But we have to think, how can we come back to be in a leadership position? And we found one thing that will set us apart, and this is true for many different industries over the years. And what is it that we must engage in to be a leader? It's innovation. Everything in the world that has evolved and won the day is innovation. You look at Apple, you look at many, many things. And now we are also looking at sustainable technology. This is where the world is going. So what we did is to look closely at where our industry is going and what cotton, U.S. cotton, can do to lead the way. So, innovation indeed. So this is what we are doing, and we'd like to share with you a new initiative and hope that also you can join us in some way, whether it is to adopt some of these technologies or think about what we all can be doing. Number one, to go on the path of sustainability. So here we are. So we have a new initiative that we announced last year, and because it takes time, and we're a global organization, we are introducing it around the world, step by step, since last September. So it's almost been a year, and we're continually doing it and continually finding new partners with which to promote this program. So we are showcasing new ideas in technology, fashion, blends, and processes. So what was our process? We have to do our due diligence, it's important. So we did research, and that's important too, because we want to know what are the brands and retailers looking for. You know, in order to stay competitive, they also need to continually update their products to the consumer, right? And then we said, okay, who would be a good fit for a partner? And then we go on marketing and promotion, and we started that at Vision, one of the world's most important shows in Paris last September. We'll show you a video of that soon. And then we have to go back and assess, how did we do? Because this is the way we progress. So we take stock of where we are and how we did, and how, like our industry itself, continual improvement. So I'd like to share with you our initial effort at Vision to give you an idea of this initiative.
believe that innovation is the driver of growth in any category and any company in the world. Therefore, we've created a new initiative called What's New in Cotton. This initiative is designed to inspire all our partners in the global textile supply chain to look for new ways to innovate with U.S. cotton. We introduced this idea in September of 2017 at Mi국면화협회 in Paris, one of the world's largest trade shows and exhibitions of apparel, fabric, and yarn. Mi국면화협 has almost 2,000 exhibitors and attracts more than 60,000 attendees. For the first time at Mi국men화협, CCI exhibited jointly with Cotton Incorporated and Supima in one large cotton pavilion to showcase cotton innovations, including innovation in technologies, fabric blends, performance, design, and fashion. At CCI, our What's New in Cotton process is to find small companies or entrepreneurs with interesting technologies that can potentially be married with U.S. cotton. Let's hear from two of our partners.
When you think about cotton, you need something that is clean, is sustainable, and is having a good background. And we believe that the U.S. cotton is giving all these characteristics for the way that it's grown and for the way that the people care over the production process. My name is Lorenzo Vescati, and I'm from Italy, and I'm working at BYR to produce and promote new technologies based on yarns and using cotton. U.S. cotton fits very well our technology because it's not only working on the functions but on the sustainability. So basically everything is good about U.S. cotton.
All customers are asking, what can my clothes do for me? It's great to have a natural feeling garment that can also do something for you. My name is Trent Cornick, and I'm from Celliant, one of the most responsive technology textiles in the world. So Celliant is a responsive technology that responds with your body. So you're giving off heat constantly, and we need to find something to do with your energy. So our product is embedded with minerals that absorb all the body heat that you're emitting, converting that heat into infrared energy, which is extremely useful for the human body. And today I'm here with Cotton USA guys because we found a great pairing of natural fibers and technology.
Pairing innovative technologies with quality U.S. cotton adds value to our customers' business. When mills, manufacturers, brands, and retailers want strong, consistent, and uniform fibers, they turn to Cotton USA. The entire U.S. cotton industry is proud to create a cotton fiber that's preferred for quality, consistency, and innovation, and is truly the cotton the world trusts.
So, this gives you a small idea of the direction, one of the big directions that Cotton USA is going in. And briefly, here are some of our partners that we are working with. As mentioned in this last video, Celliant is an interesting technology. In fact, they're so busy that their order books are already filled. And I think we actually helped them do that because they have been partnering with us in some of the shows around the world. It actually makes the recovery time much quicker. It recycles the body's own energy. What an interesting concept. SoluCell is another technology. It's a hollow core yarn that's lighter, cooler, not only in denim, but in home textiles. You can even have towels that are very thick and fluffy, but weigh half as much and dry in half as much time. Chromine is also very interesting. It's a certified anti-dust mite technology. Life materials, antibacterial and antimicrobial technology. Atlas Signature T has a DNA marker in it for traceability. That means you actually can know what is in your stuff, meaning no cheating. If they say, it's U.S. cotton, but it's actually Indian cotton, you will be able to know. And Intech, also a brand new technology. It's for zero discharge, zero dye. And in a few years, this revolutionary technology could very well replace dyeing and finishing. Pretty cool, we think. Anyway, so very exciting news that we're working on. Again, this is a work in progress. We want to inspire our industry to take a closer look at Cotton USA. We're not sitting there. We're dynamic. We're moving forward. And we hope that we can even lead the way with some of help from these technologies. But again, we do not sell anything, we don't make anything. We simply want to bring your attention to what is possible with Cotton USA. So, very quickly, we're going to bring innovation to life for you through Cotton USA and some of our partners. And I'd like to have lights, and now very quickly, action over here, if you want to bring the lights up. And very soon, we're going to have some of these mannequins come to life for you. So I'm not going to go into detail here because I want the MC to show you with all of our models actually wearing these outfits. And I would encourage you to go up and take a closer look. The hand feel what actually is going on, and if you're interested, we can give you the contacts of these various companies so that if you're interested to adopt them or learn more about what they can do for some of your products, give you a competitive edge, please let June know, let us know. We're very, very happy to put you in direct touch with these companies. And all of them are using U.S. cotton. So that's this Cell also uses 100% U.S. cotton. So anyway, quite exciting. So, and again, these are all of our shows around the world. And as you can see, we're in June at Cotundeid, Korea. We are moving on to China tomorrow, tonight actually. And then already in September, we'll be back again in Premier Vision. We have another round of cotton days in Indonesia, in Thailand, also in Bangladesh, Pakistan. And again, in November, some of you are coming to our summit. And this time it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. So again, always moving forward. Okay, so without further ado, Cotton USA. We bring innovation to life. Thank you.
What's new in cotton? 혁신 소재 의상에 대한 패션 프레젠테이션을 시작하겠습니다. 어플라이 DNA 사이언스사의 등록 상표 시그니처 T입니다. 어플라이 DNA 사이언스사는 분자 단위의 분석을 통한 안정성 및 인증 솔루션을 제공하는 생명공학 전문 기업입니다. 시그니처 T 기술은 미국에서 재배한 면화석질소에 분자 단위의 표식 탱크를 부착하고 텍스타일의 공급망이 어떤 단계에서도 섬유 원산지 추적을 가능하게 해줍니다. 셀리언트는 폴로스닉스사의 특허 기술입니다. 셀리언트 기술은 천연 미네랄 포단물을 사용하여 인체에서 발산되는 에너지를 다시 사용하게 함으로써 체력을 강화시키고 운동 후의 피로 회복 시간을 단축시키는 효과를 보게 합니다. 셀리언트 제품은 미국 식품의약품 FDA의 의료기기 인증을 획득하였습니다. 제로디는 인테크 디지털 테크놀로지사의 등록 상표입니다. 제로디 기술은 염색 및 프린트 산업의 친환경적인 핵심 솔루션을 제공하는 기업입니다. 제로디 기술은 가능성 색소와 디지털 기술을 결합하여 원단 및 단어들의 직접 프린팅이 가능하게 하는 친환경적이며 지구지속 가능성을 실현하게 해주는 기술입니다. 라이프 머터리얼 테크놀로지사는 항균성 첨가제와 치료제 개발 및 생산을 주요 사업으로 하는 재료공학 기술 회사입니다. 라이프 머터리얼 테크놀로지사는 재생 가능하고 지속 가능한 환경을 만들기 위하여 모든 재료를 식물에서 추출한 물질을 사용합니다. 라이프 내추럴의 기술은 의류의 쾌적함을 지속시키고 냄새를 제어할 수 있는 기능을 부여합니다. 라이프 내추럴의 기술은 데님에도 적용될 수 있습니다. 쾌적함을 지속시키고 냄새를 제어할 수 있는 기능은 면으로 만들어진 어떤 원단에도 동일하게 적용됩니다. 프로님은 생명공학 전문 기업입니다. 치유의 효능을 가진 천연 물질과 첨단 기술을 결합시키는 기술을 개발하고 있습니다. 드라이 프로텍트는 징크 피리치온과 활석을 이용합니다. 땀으로 발생될 수 있는 냄새를 억제시키고 습기를 흡수함으로써 순면의 후송함을 더 증폭시키는 효과를 보여주는 혁신적인 기술입니다. 사용을 자제하고 자연 섬유의 면을 이용해 방수 기능을 실현하게 해주는 특허 기술입니다. 이 혁신 기술을 이용하여 세번수의 면사를 재직하는 과정, 썸을 그대로 이용함으로써 의류에 우아한 실루엣을 더해주고 부드럽고 편안한 룩을 만들어내는 차별화된 특성을 만들어냅니다. 인터내셔널을 보유한 솔루셀 에어입니다. 솔루셀 에어는 코튼 원사 내부에 공기층을 주입시키는 기술입니다. 원사 내부의 공기층은 코튼 원단을 더 가볍게 만들어주며 활동성을 부여하고 편안함을 더해주는 의류로 만들어줍니다. 솔루셀 에어는 면사 가공 특허 기술입니다. 네, 혁신 소재에 대한 의상을 8벌을 차례로 만나보았는데요. 이번에는 8벌의 의상을 모두 함께 보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 잠시 포토 타임을 갖도록 하겠는데요. 먼저 모델들과의 단독 사진을 찍고요. 이어서 VIP 세션을 같이 진행하도록 하겠습니다. If all the distinguished guests from the VIP table number 1 and number 2, if you could climb to the stage for the photo session, we'll take a little moment to take a photo. 자, VIP 게스트분들과 그리고 스피커분들과 함께 무대 위에서 잠시 포토 타임을 가지도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you. All the VIP and distinguished guests could proceed back to their seats, please. 자, 위에 계신 VIP 여러분들께서는 자리로 다시 착석을 해주시면
지금까지 함께해 주신 여러분께 다시 한번 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 지금까지 What's New in Cotton, 코튼데이 2018이었습니다. 저는 아나운서 김기현이었습니다. 고맙습니다.
지금 식사하시기 전에 잠깐 더 모델들 머리에 요청을 드렸거든요. 더 자세히 보셔서 그 정보를 보실 수 있고 오늘 저 패키지 안에 각 회사들 정보 연락처가 있어요. 그래서 그 연락처에서 직접 연락을 하셔야 됩니다. 저희가 도와드릴 수 없게 돼 있어요. 그리고 오늘 그 발표하신 자료들 요청하시는 분들이 많이 있으신데요. 저희 저희가 그 등록하신 이메일로 지금 저희 오늘 코튼데이에 대한 평가를 요청을 드릴 거예요. 그래서 그 작성을 다 하시면은 그 파워포인트 자료.
Oh, okay. It's okay?
Look at this.
Look at me? Yeah. Just let me know when I need to start.
네, 그렇습니다.
Thank you.
아,
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Karen. My name is Karen Malmström and I am the director for China and Northeast Asia for Cotton Council International. And we're thrilled to be presenting today in Seoul, 12th of June, our new collection of what's new in cotton. This is our name for Cotton Day. And we've gathered around 180 people here. Very, very exciting to showcase our technology partners. We've also had wonderful presentations from our team here to introduce the audience to sustainability of U.S. cotton and what that really means. Also, we say from dirt to shirt, and we've been getting a great response. We have live model show, and you can see in the background that our models are on display wearing the clothing from our technology partners. And this is a continual process. We're adding partners, and we're going to be able to showcase additional outfits coming up for our collection in the autumn. So we're very excited because it really showcases what we can do with cotton, and we like to inspire our partners and welcome new partners to join us and really understand the meaning behind Cotton USA. And we like to say, Cotton USA, we bring innovation to life. Thank you.
Good morning or good afternoon, I think it is now. My name is Roger Gilmartin. I'm an independent consultant, and I've been sharing today the work I did last year in Bangladesh for CCI to share it with their partners here. And it's an important part of the kind of service they give to their customers. They carry out independent research and they share the results of that research with the world. So I've been very happy to be in Korea. It's about 15 years since I was been here, so I've seen lots of changes. It's just as good as ever. So thank you very much for having me.